Titles, go.
The Gray.
African Viking.
2% black.
Have you tried not being diabetic?
1 of 3.
I saw some jiggling.
Strain your bagels.
Hughvante, Crocs-Bearer, the Gray.
Not Helen Keller.
Resume Wizard.
Mary and Barry.
Sandwich book.
Who's rich?
I'm rich.
Hugs on the Fields.
Let's do this.
Warning. What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Geek Pod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
Corbs.
I'm Kev.
Carlos. Pedro. I'm Jack.
Guys, what's got you geeked?
Oh, I got something for it. Why, you want to go first, Kev? Okay.
He's like, no.
Well, I didn't quite successfully slice my fingerprints off on Friday, so that's good. So I had a pretty bad knife accident trying to open a thing of cheese. I also discovered this stuff. Have you had this yet? The Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream?
How is
I've
it?
heard about it.
Crap, it's amazing. So I heard somebody else say it was good, and I was like, Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. Bought a 12-pack. Holy cow, it's actually really, really good. It's got that real strawberry flavor. It doesn't taste like fake strawberry. Like, I don't even know how they do that. But that's not what has me geeked. What has me geeked is I finally got my Ancestry DNA kit results back. Now, do we know the story? Did I tell the story on? I don't know if I told the story. You know anything about this, Paul?
Nope.
Okay, so a while back, I get a text message from my ex-wife showing the screenshot of my middle daughter Ella's DNA test, because apparently they did DNA tests. And she's like, look, she has some African in her. And lo and behold, it was like something in Tobago, someplace in Africa. So I'm like, So I immediately ordered a DNA test because, as far as I knew, I was Polish and, racist because, there's my mom's side and my dad's side of the family. And I'm like, I don't know how any black could have gotten in there. So I did a DNA test. I got the results back, and lo and behold, I have two. I have that, and I have a Ghana tribe something. Here, I can pull it up in 2 seconds. I should have had this ready. I'm sorry. It was Benin and Togo and Eastern Bantu peoples. So I had 2%. So first thing I did was sent that picture to my ex-wife, and I said with the caption, I guess you don't have any explaining to do, because it was me. And then I immediately got thinking about it. I'm like, I am almost 2% black. Now, what would somebody normally do with that? I thought really long and hard about this, and I was going to write a bit about, 10 things I can do now. And then, you know what? Every single middle-aged white guy, probably every single, 20s white guy who gets a DNA test, who finds this out, finds some subtly racist, humorous way to bring it out and talk to people about it. I'm like, we're not going to do that. Everybody comes from the cradle of life anyway, and it's just kind of cool that I'm not completely white. However, I also discovered by uploading my Ancestry DNA into a historical DNA site that I am a lot of, Europe, Eastern European, a lot of Scottish, but a whole lot of Viking, like 3 different kinds of Viking from 3 different places, which was pretty awesome. So I told my wife this. She comes back to me because she had been talking to our former boss, Amity, who no longer works with us, but we go down. She's the person we visit in New Jersey.
Mhm.
They came up with my new name since I have 2%
Oh, boy.
African blood and
Oh,
I'm a
boy.
Viking. My new name is Hughvante Crocs-Bearer with a hyphen, Crocs-Bearer. I'm like, all right, I could. That's pretty cool. That's a better joke than I could have made with it. So I'm glad somebody else did the heavy lifting for me, and I didn't embarrass myself in this podcast. But it's been a pretty interesting week so far.
Outstanding.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So how much Viking did you say?
It was. There's not a percentage on
Three different
that.
sources?
3 different sources. Yes.
So 3 different women in your chain
Probably.
of life
Probably
were raped by Vikings? Is that what
that's probably what it is. It was
Okay.
probably 3 different women in my family were raped by Vikings, but I can tell you exactly what it was. It was Celtic Vikings, I don't have it all here.
Was it 3 different
Right.
women or 1 woman all raped by 3 different Vikings?
I'm guessing that it's 3 women raped by 3 different Vikings.
Okay. From
Because
3 different distinct areas.
correct. But also there was Visigoth in there, which they were kind of like, Vikings without ships, sort of. There was a lot of violence. There's actually more than that. There's like
Lot
6
of
or 7 different groups that I come from that are all about violence. I also found out I have the sprinter's gene. Yeah, and I have the endurance or long runners endurance or no, what was it? I have 2 sports related genes that clearly skipped me, but I did end up luckily with my African heritage with the the barbecue and collard greens gene. And now I don't have to feel bad when, we go to a family event and, my wife's black relatives kind of sneak up and say, hey, what's your collard greens recipe? But they try to keep it all quiet because they don't want to be asking me that.
Yep.
I
And
can be like,
there's
hey,
the white guy joke. Yeah, it had to be in there somewhere.
Maybe your name is
dude, you don't
Usain.
know. I make some kick-ass collard greens.
I bet
Maybe
you
I
you're
put the
do.
soul in soul
I
food.
bet you do.
Maybe your African name could be Usain Bolt Allen or something like that. I don't know.
No, it's Hughvante Crocs-Bearer. Get with
I
the
know.
program.
No, but your African side, not your Viking side. I'm saying.
That's
That's Hughvante.
Hughvante.
I know.
Hughvante is the African.
Okay.
Crocs-Bearer, because I wear Crocs all the time, is the Viking.
Oh, I know.
It's both of them together.
Can we just add one little, like almost like an Esquire thing on the end of it, and just add the gray?
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'm good. That just made my night right there.
All right, fine. Well, let's stop the silence. What's got me geeked is pretty cool, I think. As you guys know, I wanted to be a teacher at one point. A couple of my friends are like really upset with their current job. So I was like, look for another job. And they're like, well, I'm just not good at it. I'm like, all right. So like I do this program and I actually do it for a couple $100 and I get paid for it. But with my friends, I'm doing it for free. So we do their resume, we do a mock interview, and then we send them on their way. So it's like a little mentoring program. So a couple of my friends have a couple job interviews this upcoming week. So like when I first saw their resumes, I'm like, oh my God. Like, of course resumes are resumes, but I've done them for such a long time. They were just piss poor. I was like, oh, this is just rough to look at. So it was kind of cool getting their resumes all up together. And then they did their mock interviews and they did all right. But I was just like, okay, with some of their answers, I'm like, okay, that's not the answer you want to say. But I'm just working with them a little bit on that. And I'm proud to say one has a job offer and the other one has a couple more interviews coming up. So in just one short week, they're doing pretty well. So short and sweet, they're doing good and helping people do their resumes and get new jobs.
There you go.
You know, Jack, I want to talk about the resume thing, and this is not to belittle because it's cool that you do that. But resumes are made up bullshit.
I know, but
Okay,
that's what they need for jobs.
Because here's my thing. You're right. Their resumes probably were piss poor, and you had to like fluff them all up. And it's the equivalent of that monkey with the red ass showing its ass to get a mate. It's ridiculous. You should be able to look. This is where I work. These are the skills I have. That's how you determine who's the best person for the job, not who's the best bullshit artist or who paid the right person to make it look like it bugs the shit out of me.
It bugs me too, but like you have to play the game to a certain point to be seen nowadays with a lot of companies. Like I had an interview recently with a company. They had 60 people apply, 3 people got interviews. I was one of the 3 and I was not selected for the job, but you have to do it. Go ahead, Kev. What are you saying?
I was just going to say sometimes resumes don't have to be fluff. I've helped some friends with resumes, and what I concentrate on is I let them tell me what they did. But what I do is I wordsmith it so that they're not being repetitive. They're not using the same words over again. They're actually making a statement by saying, I was good at this. I did this and I'm proud of it. So you make the statement so that it stands out by itself, so that it doesn't blend into the next one and the next one. Because if there's 3 bullet items under a job title, and they're 3 completely different things, you want them to sound like 3 completely different things. So that's what I concentrate on. So it's a wordsmithing so that you're not being repetitive. It's accuracy in your language, so there's no misspellings, there's no grammatical errors, and it's correct. It's defensible, so that when they're asked questions about it, they can speak to whatever that was. The one thing I do not support is I do not support any kind of lying or embellishing on a resume, because the resume represents who you are. And if you can't answer questions about that in a job interview, if you can't be very confident about what's on that, then you're not going to get the job, and you shouldn't, in my mind, whether you get it or not.
You're absolutely right. One of my friends is in the entertainment field. We did a video resume. So that's how he did his resume. We made it tailored towards him. The other one is an accountant type field. And he's like, oh, wow, I like how you answered this question. I'm like, that's not what you're going to say, because that's not who you are. So you have to tailor it to who you are. You're right, Hugh. Resumes shouldn't tell who you really are, but until they can get you in front of them. Go ahead.
I wasn't saying they shouldn't tell who you are. I'm just saying that they're not in every case, because Kevin makes some great points, but there is a lot of showmanship there. And a lot of undue stress, I think, for the applicants, where really, you shouldn't, unless you're going to pull a rabbit out of your ass, you shouldn't be applying for something you're not qualified for. And at least if I was hiring, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, do I think this person can do the job? And when I was the hiring manager, when I saw something where I'm like, yeah, they spent a lot of time flourishing this, or whatever you want to call it, those are the ones I would set aside, because I really wasn't. If this is what they do before they even come in the door, I don't know if I would necessarily trust them while they were actually working there. Now, I still would interview a few if things were low, but I tend to go with people not that had bad resumes, but ones that just read like a real person said, you know what, I want this job, here are my skills. That meant something to me.
No,
I'm probably in the minority there.
No, you're not. Those are great points as well. When I was reviewing resumes.
You're right, boy.
What?
I said I'm in the minority there. Paul pointed at me.
You are kind of there. You're right.
Still making the racist jokes. I just don't get it.
No, but you want to see people do well and all that stuff. So it's just at the end of the day, seeing one have a job and the other one looking. Yeah. They got to keep going. So that's actually kind of nice. And it's kind of good that you guys know the same field as well. So that has me geeked this week.
Nice.
You gonna go, Corbs? I do have something, but I'll let you go.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. Mine isn't what's got me geeked. It's kind of what's got me pissed off, I guess.
Atlanta trip's canceled.
No, fuck no. I'll drive myself there if I have to. Fuck that. No, so you guys know, and Paul and Hugh, you guys are both in the same boat. I went to pick up my diabetic medication. I take Ozempic. And I went to pick up my medication on Friday night. I went there a couple days before and asked them to order me, because they said, come in and we'll order it for you. We'll give you a supply, whatever. I was like, okay. So I show up there Friday night. The girl rings it up, and it's $890.
Wow.
For 1 month. I looked at her. I said, excuse me? I said, I paid $24 for this. Why is it $890 for 1 month? And she's like, well, it has to do something with your insurance. So I was like, okay, well, so I have to call my insurance company. But just the shock value of
Right.
medication that you need. Like my mom's in the same boat. My mom's on Medicaid, Medicare, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I can't. I same thing.
You know, it's just ridiculous that she's got to pay. She pays $270 for a 1 month supply of the knockoff version of her diabetic medication.
Wow.
So I don't get why these medications are so damn expensive for stuff that you need to maintain your blood sugars.
Well, it's your fault for, being diabetic.
Well, that's true.
No, you bring up a good point, Corbs. One of my colleagues, his son is on a certain type of medication, and he was trying to get his son his medication. Has for years, and now they're saying, "Oh yeah, our plan does not cover this anymore."
Right.
Long story short, he actually had to call the insurance company and call them back, and they forgot to check off one little box, and they're like, "Oh, now this is covered." So like maybe they can go through things and find you something.
Yeah, I have to call my insurance company. I just haven't had a chance to do it because I've been super busy. They've been giving me projects at work to do. So I've been installed 15 laptops and docking stations from Thursday. Last Thursday, I did 6. I did 6 on Thursday. I did 4 on Friday. I did 4 more on Monday.
Nice.
And on top of that, I've been putting together our training room. I did all the cable management, set up all the PCs. So I didn't break any more TVs though.
We were just going to ask that.
I did hang a TV today, so I did touch a TV. Actually, it was the TV that
Hang it, like lynched it?
Yeah.
They let you touch TVs?
Really?
Oh, Hugh, you're going to run this all night.
Well, it's Paul's fault.
But
No, I
Corbs,
pretty well think that's your fault, Hugh. I think I think you had all these jokes ready to go.
Yes, because I knew he was going to say he hung a TV.
But Corbs, when she said $890, she was probably like, $890. Like doesn't even flinch. And it's like, what the fuck?
Well, she at first when she rang it up, she's like, "Did they tell you about the price of this?" And I was like, "No."
Excuse me?
And when I finally looked at it, I was just, I had my card in my hand, I was ready to pay for it, and I'm like, that's half my paycheck for that one medication. So every month, 1/4 of my paycheck would have to go towards my medication.
Well, you should know better. You should not be a diabetic.
Well, if I give you this medication, I won't be a diabetic.
Stupid bullshit.
Jeez. Can you do buy one, get one half off or get one free?
My doctor, I want to say I have a card somewhere where my doctor said I can get it for like $25 or whatever, no matter what the cost was. I got to find out.
Yeah, they have like coupon programs or something that they do with these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be the other thing is like you might have had one on file that ran out.
Right.
But the pharmacist should be telling you that if that's the case.
True.
So.
It's very serious being a diabetic, but can you like do like a punch card, like buy 5 and get a pizza or something like that?
Okay.
Oh, that's going to help with the diabetes. Yeah.
I don't know.
You
get a bag of
free
candy
salad or some shit like that.
Well, you keep eating 10 pounds of tater tot casserole a week, and you'll know exactly what it's like to be a diabetic.
I still eat that shit.
So that's it for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, mine is topical. What's got me geeked is we had ourselves a little celebration at work today.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had a birthday yesterday. Somebody who might be over there muttering under their breath.
Was Tom Selleck had a birthday yesterday?
Robert Goulet did?
And so we all it was fortuitous that I had to come into work early. So me and a couple of our other coworkers got together and decorated for Kevin. Did his whole area up. He had little Grogu balloons and happy birthday signs and shiny doilies coming from everywhere. I believe there was a birthday tiara too, wasn't there, Kev?
There was a tiara,
yes.
And it played a little song, although the battery was dead.
I didn't know it played a song. But yeah, it was fun. We all got together behind his back. I realized yesterday when it was his birthday, I got with these guys. I'm like, we're all in the office together tomorrow, so let's make it miserable. But it was a good time. There were
I think
snacks.
I think it had the opposite effect. Actually, it was actually kind of fun.
Good. I'm glad it helped. But just one last thing on your thing, Corbs. Have you tried not being a diabetic?
Just tried. It doesn't work.
Try harder.
Just try harder. Yeah.
Oh, I think you said die harder at first. I'm like, damn.
Well, I mean, he's
that's-
working on that.
That's what the insurance company wants.
Yeah.
Right?
If he dies, we don't have to pay for his shit anymore. So fuck him.
If he dies, he dies.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that's what had me going today was that we got to do that for Kev. It was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was almost like the old days because before COVID, that's what would happen in IT is
Yeah.
everybody's birthday would be like that, and you would get the whole thing when you came in that day, and someone would inevitably bring either a breakfast or a lunch thing, and there would be snacks and good times and
So it'd be diabetes head.
diabetes all day.
King of diabetes.
No, Paul, I remember when I worked with you, there was somebody's birthday on my birthday. I'm like, oh, wow, I have this big breakfast bar. And then the guy tapped me on the shoulder. He's like,
He was like,
no,
not,
Jack,
not for you. You
this
just
isn't for
move
you.
aside. Yeah.
I get this little thing and he gets this whole big thing. I was like, oh,
Well, one of the attorneys had his birthday today. Actually, mine was yesterday, but his was today, I think. And then they decorated his office. They really did it up.
They went further than we did.
Yeah,
Should've-
pretty funny.
You should have like wrapped all of his stuff on his desk.
Went in, just took his shit.
How do you decorate for an attorney? Strippers and coke?
Probably in the old days, yeah.
Although I did invite dancing girls down to our at the IT office, and they did come down.
They came down, but there was no dancing. I didn't know that was supposed to be part of the deal.
I saw some jiggling.
I'm not going there.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one either.
Oh, I didn't touch it. Don't worry.
All right, let's
So
move
Kevin,
on.
well, are you gonna
Almost
let
got
Kev
that
say?
tweet.
Well, he's
I thought he went. Did I miss
No.
it?
No, that's
Oh.
why I was laughing when
That's
you were
fine.
mentioning your segment.
Oh,
I was just going to talk about the fact that I've been tearing my dirt bike apart, getting it ready for riding season, and I've been pleasantly surprised that things are not nearly as in bad a shape as I would expect. A lot of times bearings and stuff go bad. Water gets in and washes away the grease, and then you end up with rusty bearings. And I have not had that in very many places, luckily. So it hasn't been too awful bad. And where I have found it, it's been very easy to mitigate. So
nice.
that's what I've been doing.
Awesome.
Are we talking about your dirt bike or your legs?
Pretty much both, yeah.
Pretty much both, okay.
A lot of rust and getting things moving again.
Okay. Mean.
yeah, really.
What goes around comes around. I mean, I
This
gotta
is true,
expect it if I'm
yes.
gonna hand it out.
All right. So now we can move on. What is anybody playing? Has anybody got some gaming stories for us?
Boy. Oh,
Kevin looks
boy.
like he does.
Can I go first?
Sure, go for it.
Sure.
It's more of the same.
I figured as much.
Right.
The more I play The Last of Us, the more I get into the story and the more I get into the show. What happened most recently, last week when Joel got hurt. Is everybody caught up? I don't want to
Yes.
blow.
Mhm.
Okay. So last week when Joel got hurt, what I had done is I'd played through up to that point, and in order to save the game, I had to get to a certain point. Well, I thought I did. I thought I had to get to a certain point before I could save the game. And then all of a sudden I realized I was playing Ellie. Now that's significant for a couple of reasons. And as soon as I got to that point, I'm like, oh my God, I got to shut this off, because I didn't want to get past the story where the story was on television. When we caught up, everything catches up. We see where we're going. Then for whatever reason, I play. So we watched. What the hell was the last thing that happened? So we catch her in the house or whatever, and she's trying to take care of Joel. Somewhere in there, I got ahead. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm not sure story wise, whatever. But I got ahead, and I ended up seeing how she went out and she was hunting, and then she found the group and David and all that. And I played all through that all the way to the end of the lodge burning down and where Joel finds her. I played all the way through to the end of that. Then I see the story from this past Sunday. So I did that first, then I see the story. The whole time I'm sitting there watching the story, I'm cringing because I know what's happening. I know what's coming next. And Pedro Pascal and Bella
Ramsey.
do such an amazing job that I'm like, I feel like I've already seen this. They did, they obviously changed some things, but I had played through it. I knew what was going on. I knew what was happening, and then I see it being portrayed on television, and it's like it's all bringing it together for me. And I have to say, I don't know what I like better: seeing it on TV first and then playing through and catching up, or playing through and then seeing what happens on TV. I think both have phenomenal merit, no matter which way you do it. I think it's just a phenomenally good experience to be playing the game and watching the show all at the same time. And I couldn't be happier that I had the opportunity to mess around with the PS4 and to play the game. What do you got, Jack?
Did he call her baby girl in the video game at the end of the? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Because when he called her baby girl, that was awesome.
I thought they said that was a tweak for the show.
I don't know.
As a callback to his daughter.
See, it's such a powerful moment when she is, when she's killing this guy, going to town on him, and then Joel shows up. Now it's a little bit different in game than it is in the show. Joel actually shows up in the lodge when she's, just finishing on David, versus the show, she had gone outside, and that's where Joel finds her. So not very different, but a little different. Same impact either way, in my mind. I had played through it, and then of course you get to that point where, she gets the machete, and then she goes to town on David, and you're no longer playing, you're just watching it on the game. And I sat back and I'm watching it, and my eyes, I had to have this horribly stunned look on my face. I watched my wife, and she had the same look on her face seeing it the first time. Then we watched the after show. You guys been watching the after show stuff?
Well, the little short one that comes right after it.
Yeah. So one of the game developers had said, this is one of his favorite parts of the game. And what he experienced is the same thing that he watches other people experience and has watched them experience over and over again. When they get to that point, they get this look at this realization, and all of a sudden they proclaim out loud, "I'm Ellie. I did that. That's exactly what happened to me." And it's like they did such a great job in the show, bringing the game onto the big screen. I'm really happy to be playing the game.
And Kev, you knew David's right-hand man was Joel from the video game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I even though I had seen him, and I don't know the actress's name that voiced Ellie for the game, but I had seen him and her sitting in a room having I saw a YouTube video where they were actually having a conversation. I think they were having a conversation about coming back for the Last of Us 2, and they were talking about the work they had done and what they were looking forward to do again. So I had actually seen him, but in this interview he doesn't look anything like he did on TV. So when they said in the after show that was the voice of Joel, I was just like, oh my God, that's fucking cool. That's just wicked cool. It was just wicked cool.
What did he say? He was like, I thought it'd be a clicker, but he's like, I took a machete. No, I took a cleaver to the neck.
Yeah.
He was just so happy to be part of it and to do that and to be part of that part of it. That was cool. That was wicked cool.
See, that's kind of cool on our podcast. We have somebody playing the video game with the show side by side. So, Kev, that's actually kind of cool. I like that.
I like doing it this way. I may play ahead again. And Kathy actually said, my wife, she actually said that she might watch to see it because, like I was telling her, I said, even though I knew what was coming, I'm still holding my breath, waiting for Ellie to see what happens with the butcher in the game. He cuts the guy's arm off and slides it off the table. The television show is a little bit more subtle, but had you already known what the scene was, it was equally as impactful. And then what follows after that was, it was right there.
I'll give you fair warning. You may not want to get into the second game early. I mean, this is up to you, but there's a pretty big moment that happens early on that I still can't believe that they're going to try to pull off on TV. But it's big.
Wow.
Oof.
I mean, you may want to see that for the first time on TV. Just saying. This is the warning. You do what you want.
Yeah, I really like that up to this point. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's better. I really don't know what's better. I had such a great time with this last episode. And I'm also playing Far Cry 4. So there you go.
We'll have to talk about that on a different show. I love that.
Whatever.
For me, it's more of the same. Still doing Midnight Suns. Still working my way through that.
Same here. Still playing Elden Ring. I did want to just bring up how incredible the design of this game is really briefly. There's a place called Nokron, the Eternal City, I believe, and it's basically a city underground. Today, I visited this underground city 3 times now, all from 3 different entrances, all through 3 different parts of the city. I haven't covered the same part, but I can see some of those other parts over cliffs and it's just really neat that it's that big of a sprawling thing. I've never really experienced that in a game before. I've seen this one location from 3 different perspectives and recognized, the second and third time too, through recognized stuff I had seen before, but not just like there's a statue. It's like, there's a statue, there's that thing down there. There's that thing up there. It's interesting, but
nice.
I played one game. Like, I think I've told this on the podcast before, the virtual reality quarterback and all that. So I went back and I did the Eagles versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I was pleasant with the outcome. Eagles won the Super Bowl. And my buddy has a hole in his wall now. Because like I punched the ceiling pretty hard, and yeah, he has to patch that up so his landlord doesn't see that. But they won the Super Bowl 49-0, Corbs. I was very happy. But that ceiling has a pretty big hole now. But that's all I got.
Nice.
I picked up a game for the PlayStation 4. I picked up PGA Tour 23. So I'm playing that. It's pretty fun. You get career mode, so I make my son, obviously. I always do that. Even in like MLB, I'll make him and play as him. So it's been pretty fun. So you start out, you got to win the qualifying school tournament to get onto the Corn Ferry Tour. Then you got to win 3 tournaments there to get to the PGA. So I've already won one. I finished second in another one. So we'll see, see how it goes. I haven't played it in a couple days, but so that's it. That's it for me. That's it.
Outstanding. Oh, at least everybody contributed this time. That's unusual.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. But I think it's time for Kev's tabletop review.
All right, this week I've got something that I heard about not too awful long ago. Actually, this game just came out. Star Wars: The Deck Building Game. It is a card-based game, and it really represents 2 things very, very well. 2 things that are near and dear to my heart, and that is Star Wars and card games. So this really, for a Star Wars buff, this is a very nostalgic looking, very fun feeling game where you, unlike Magic, where you walk in with a deck of cards, you have to build your hand from the start of the game. So it's a 1v1, one-on-one game. Although there are rules you could actually change this to a two person versus two person game. It's really best played one versus one. And I'll give you a little piece of the description. The Rebel Alliance fights valiantly against the tyranny of the Galactic Empire. Each new victory brings the rebels hope, and each heroic sacrifice strengthens their resolve. Still, the Empire's resources are vast, and the firepower of its Empire Navy is unmatched. With neither side willing to accept defeat, their war rages across the galaxy. Right from the original movie, just a phenomenal callback, and the pictures on the cards really represent the characters that you expect to see in the movie. Luke and Leia and Darth Vader and Chewie and Han, they're all in there. The idea is that the different cards contain points that help you attack, points that help you build resources, and points that help you defend. So there are different things that each card can do as you have them in your hand. You build your ability to both take out the cards that your opponent may be able to draw from the center. There are certain cards that are you lay out cards in the center, and some of them might be Galactic Empire cards, some of them might be Rebel cards, some of them might be neutral cards, and you can either buy these or you can destroy these based on whatever card you have in your hand. The other part of this is the way you win, and the way you win is you have to destroy 3 or 4 of the your opponent's bases, and the 3 or 4 really comes into whether or not you play it as a beginner type game or as a normal or advanced type game. And you destroy those bases by using those hit abilities, those attack abilities on each one of your cards. If you can build enough of them, if you can spend enough of those hit points on your enemy's bases, then you get to kill that base and win that point. Now there's a phenomenal write-up as usual on BoardGameGeek.com. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the stats for this. This is a 2-player game. They're 30 to 45 minutes. They say 30 minutes. The reviews I saw said expect to go 45 minutes, especially if it's your first time. Ages 12 and up, and a weight of 2.17 out of 5. So right in the sweet spot for what I like for a game that is easily accessible to many, many people. One of the reviewers I watched, some of the review videos, it was actually a playthrough, they talked about the instructions that are included with this game and how detailed they are and how great this game is if you've never played a deck building game before. So this makes this a phenomenal gateway deck building game. If you like Star Wars, if you're interested in this sort of a card game, this can be the one that you get to help you learn about deck builders and what the mechanics are behind that. And I think this is it sounds like just a fantastic game. Just came out. It's a 2023 release. Very anticipated by many of the Board Game Geek clan, the people that participate in the site. So this is something that I'm really happy to have found, and I'm really happy to bring to you. Definitely look it up if you get the chance. Star Wars, the deck building game, 2023, and definitely check this out. Now I haven't looked at the prices. That's the one thing that I did not tell you guys. Oh, it looks like it's not inexpensive. It looks like $38 to $45 wherever you're going to find it. Now it is brand new. They probably have to pay a franchise fee. There's that Star Wars brand on there. Disney's got to get their cut. So maybe wait till it's out a little while, or like I say, if you're if these are something you're looking for, if you're looking for something new for you and your significant other or your buddy that you like to play games together, this might be worthwhile. I think it's definitely going to find its way into my game cabinet.
Awesome.
Or pick it out when you're at Star Wars Celebration next month. Never know.
That's
You
kind
could
of
have
a
it there.
sore point, Jack. Why'd you have to
I
say
know.
that?
I'm doing it for our own well-being. I know it's very sore.
That's
Son
the
of a bitch.
opposite of what you just did.
I just want very, very
Son of
happy
a
to say it.
bitch.
I know.
All right. On that note, how about we throw it to commercial? We'll come back for the news. Stick with us, folks.
Hi, this is Craig Palmer. If you ever aspire to be a wrestler, come on down to Upstate Wrestling Entertainment, located at 1121 Glenwood Ave in Edina, New York. We're open every Tuesday and Thursday from 6:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. Come on down and join us. See you then.
Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a key back issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics.
Now, before we just roll over and give every award everywhere to Everything Everywhere All at Once at the Oscars this Sunday, here's the news. First up, James Gunn, you have failed Marc Guggenheim. Arrowverse co-creator Marc Guggenheim has expressed frustration over having not been contacted by James Gunn and Peter Safran as they plot the DC Cinematic Universe going forward. He stated, "I assumed they would assemble some kind of brain trust to help facilitate what I hoped would be a vision as ambitious as the DC Universe deserves. But I'll be honest, I would have liked to have gotten at least a meeting, not a job, mind you, a meeting, a conversation, a small recognition of what I tried to contribute to the grand tapestry that is the DC Universe. I'd only spent 9 years toiling in that vineyard after all. Although working for DC has been creatively fulfilling, it involved a lot of adversity, challenges, and personal sacrifices, none of which seem to have accrued to any professional benefit. Simply put, the Arrowverse hasn't led to any other gigs, so it feels like, at least on a career level, that I really wasted my time." So basically, he feels like the rest of us do about the Arrowverse. Next up, hail to the cartoon, baby. It seems Bruce Campbell may not be as done with the iconic character of Ash Williams from the Evil Dead franchise as previously believed. Speaking with Bloody Disgusting to promote the release of Evil Dead Rise recently, Campbell confirmed that an animated project set within the Evil Dead universe is being developed. He told them, "All I can say is we're actively pursuing it. Sam's a busy guy. He had a big hit movie. He's got a lot on his plate, but he and his brother are actively shaping out the world. It's one thing to get an animator and say, hey, animate this. You've got to know what you're going to animate. I look forward to it because my voice hasn't aged as much as I have." I think Sam Axe would agree with him, but Briscoe County Jr. would probably say to hell with the old age and kill himself trying to appear in live action again. He never was that smart. I mean, who plays football into their mid-40s with concussion issues? I mean, physically axe into... Never mind. And finally, some dads give their kids Legos. Hellboy is returning to the silver screen with a second reboot in 3 years. Actor Jack Kesey, I believe it is, will be replacing David Harbour, who replaced Ron Perlman in the upcoming Hellboy: The Crooked Man. Being described as a folksy horror story, it will show us a younger Hellboy and a rookie BRPD agent in a small community haunted by witches led by a local Who'd have thought? I just have to ask, is Hellboy the new Batman or the new Spider-Man? And how did this even happen? Don't get me wrong. I love this character in the comics and the movies, but how does a not popularly known comic book character end up getting rebooted over and over again? Why aren't there 5 Rocketeer movies by now? Who are the film execs going, you know what we need? Another Hellboy reboot. In a world where we get a new Evil Dead movie every decade or so, somehow Hellboy gets asked to the prom every few years. I just don't know how this happens. And that's the news, kids. Now, remember, if you find yourself without an answer, you can always rely on Avery to light your way. So keep these 3 things in mind. It's always your electromagnetic foot leeches. Make sure to strain your bagels. And finally, always lick your grandpa's popsicle. She doesn't even have a grandpa, so no idea where that could have come from. Paul?
In other news, Buzz Aldrin was the first man to pee his pants on the moon. Back to you, Corbs.
Like to do that.
How do you follow that?
You
I don't
want
know how
to
you
pee?
follow it.
You want to pee Buzz Aldrin's pants on the moon?
Whatever. But
You'd have to be in Buzz Aldrin's pants. Why didn't you say it? You want to be in Buzz Aldrin's pants?
some pretty big pants to fill.
Hey, he's kind of a small guy, isn't he?
Well, the suits are big regardless.
Yeah,
That's
true.
Wait, I mean, he pees in his suit all the time.
But he did it on the moon first. He was the first one on the moon to do it, I guess.
All right,
That's
well,
what
whatever.
the book says.
And the book's always right.
The good book, yes.
What about the Martian that's on the moon? What about Marvin the Martian?
Wouldn't he be on Mars?
Yeah, you're talking about moonshins.
It's true. Good point. Not much going on sports-wise except for the news that hit today, Jack. I don't know if you saw it. Jim Boeheim will not be back as SU's basketball coach. Don't know if he was fired. I don't know if you watched the press conference. They showed a little bit on ESPN today. He basically made it seem like he was being asked to step down. They kept asking he said in the interview that he gave his retirement speech on Saturday, and nobody really caught it then. No, I don't know. I didn't see the game on Saturday. But when they kept asking him, he said, "Well, it's not me you need to talk to; it's the university." So he kept deferring it to them, saying, "You got to talk to them. It's not me. You got to talk to them. Not me. You got to talk to them." So I don't know if he was basically told he could walk away and not be fired, like he could, retire and not be let go, as kind of a way as to not disgrace his
Legacy
here. So I think that's kind of what it was. I think they might have come to him and said, "Hey, we're not going to have you back, but we're not going to fire you either. So you might just want to say to everybody you're retiring, and we'll
Either leave or we're going to take you to that farm upstate like Rover."
right."
Ouch. Ow.
Oh, that's tough.
No, but you're right, Corbs. 5 Final Fours, a national championship, like second most wins of all time. 47 years at one college. Nobody's probably never gonna do that again.
No, and matter of fact, I was watching when we were on break. I went on ESPN and watched it. They were Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon on PTI were talking about it. He's been a part of SU basketball for over 50 years, between going to school here, playing, assistant coach. He was assistant coach only for a couple of years before he was given the head coaching position. He's been a head coach here for 47 years. Now everybody's like, well, I think we talked about this before. It doesn't matter who you put in there. He's never going to be Jim Boeheim. Whoever is there right now, and it's going to be Adrian Autry, which, okay, that's understandable. He's been the assistant coach there for a while. But Wilbon and Kornheiser were going over it. I mean, There's only Joe Paterno, 47 years at Penn State before he retired or was fired, whatever you want to call it. Connie Mack for baseball, coached 50 years with the Giants. Don Shula only did about 30 something, 40 something, 35, something like that with the Baltimore Colts and the Miami Dolphins. So there's not many guys. Vince Lombardi only did I think they said 30 something years with the Packers. And guys don't coach like that anymore. You don't see that anymore because guys, it's the, what have you done for me lately type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I looked, there's only been in 47 years, there's only been 4 seasons where they have not made the NC2A or the NIT in the same year. And this is the first time in back-to-back years they won't make either tournament. As far as they're saying. Now, I don't know about the NIT, but they're not in any of the brackets. I find it hard to believe that they're not one of the top 100 teams in the nation. And it's SU, they're a draw. No matter who they play, they're going to draw in fans. You either love them or you hate them, but you're going to go watch them play. At least that's what I feel about it. You're going to go watch them play no matter what, but they're not going to make. They're slated not to make either tournament, so it's the first time in 47 years that they have not made either tournament in back-to-back years, and he's only done it 4 times where they haven't played in any of them. So that's pretty astonishing to have gone that long.
I have a question, since you're more up on this than I would be.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility that the reason the past 2 seasons have been bad is because of the players? I'm just, hear me out.
Right.
When you're a coach like that, I mean, you pick the players you think are going to do good, and if they suck, it's not like you can change that if they all aren't that good. You can't fix that, even in that year.
Right.
Unless somebody else is coming up behind them. So has his coaching actually gone downhill, or is he just getting a raw deal here?
No, his coaching has gone downhill. And you're right. It does have something to do with the players, but last year he had his 2 kids on the team. Jimmy and Buddy both played on the team. They had Cole Swindell. They had a great team last year. They should have done a lot better than 16 and 17. They should have done a lot better. They just didn't. He's become enamored with the 3-point shooting. That's all they do now. But that's across college basketball. A lot of teams strictly shoot 3-pointers, or that's what they end up shooting as 3. They attempt more 3-pointers and whatnot. But his coaching has gone. To answer your question, his coaching has gone downhill. He's not making the right decisions. I think he should have gone away from the zone a little bit more. I think teams have finally figured out the zone, and you need fresh blood in there now. So hopefully Autry will come in and do something a little bit different. The guy that's his assistant coach this year. But no matter what he does next year, Autry, if he wins the whole thing, well, it's still Boeheim's team. Right. They're still going to say that, Boeheim could have done that with his team and whatnot. If they don't make anything, well, he's not Boeheim. It's always going to be like that. I don't care who you put in there. It would be better to hire somebody from off the street, not even anybody associated with the program at all, and just give them the job and say, "Here you go. You
good
have
luck.
free reign.
Yeah,
good luck. You have free reign. You're going to be fired in 2 years because you're not going to do anything with this team. You're going to have to get 10, 15, 20 years out before people will not know who Jim Boeheim is. But people are always going to know who Jim Boeheim is. He's been synonymous with SU basketball for 50 years. So no matter what happens, you're never going to be Jim Boeheim. Same thing with the guy at Duke. You're never going to be Coach K. No matter what you do there, you could win 15 straight national championships, and you're not Mike Krzyzewski. Mm-hmm. Same thing with SU. You could have a run of 15 straight years of winning the title, but you're not Jim Boeheim. So.
No, you bring up a good point, Corbs. Nobody, the game has passed him by. People have developed the 2-3 zone. They know how to beat it. But I didn't know this. This is pretty impressive. You probably know this. But SU basketball, of course, football is the bigger draw in the college sports. But Syracuse basketball, Syracuse, New York, is the biggest college basketball arena in the country. Believe it or not.
I can see that because they play in the dome.
Mm-hmm.
And if they put the dome, if they put the court in the middle of the dome, you get 50,000 people for the football game. Then you can fill the bottom of that. You could easily 75,000 people in that dome to watch an SU basketball game. Easily. I don't know why they don't do it, but
he'll be impressive though. Like you said though, like he is a great coach. Like even Tom Coughlin came out. He's like, "Oh yeah, Jim Boeheim was my RA in college." I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's been around Syracuse forever."
Yeah, he's coached 23 first-round NBA players. He's had 23 first-round picks from guys that have gone to the NBA. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of the guys that he's coached, the mentors that he's been a part of. Patino was here as a assistant coach. There's a whole bunch of guys that were here as assistant coaches that have gone on and had great careers in coaching. So, his reach is far and wide. He is synonymous with SU basketball and always will be. The court's named after him now. So, it's just one of those things. At some point, I think Manley Fieldhouse will be, the Carmelo. It's now the Carmelo, whatever it is. But I think at some point it'll be Jim Boeheim House or whatever you want to call it. It's just that's what this man has meant to this program for 47 plus years. So, hate to see him go out the way he's going out, but it seems like he's being unceremoniously let go. But given the chance to make it his way, like he can just say, "Well, yeah, I decided not to come back," as opposed to them actually straight up firing. Because I think if he doesn't say that he's retiring, that he's going to be fired. And again, how do you fire a guy who's been there 47 years?
Right.
So, because if you're the guy that fires Jim Boeheim, you'll never get another job anywhere. If you're the AD that fires him, what do you do after that? It's like if you fire Coach K, or if you fire John Wooden. You can't fire these guys. These guys have to be able to leave on their own. They've got to be able to walk away. So I think they just kind of said, "Yeah, you might want to go, so we don't have to do this to you." So I think he was trying to get to 50 years. He was trying to get to that magical number, but just not going to happen. So.
No, but Corbs, it's also too impressive. You say he means so much to the Syracuse basketball program. Also, when Coach K coached the Redeem team in 2012, who was the first coach that Coach K called to be on that team with him?
Yep.
Jim Boeheim.
Yeah,
he's got a couple gold medals. Yeah,
he's coached with Coach K for the Olympics every year since then. Every time that they play Olympics, Boeheim's part of the. He actually the NBA players run the 2-3 zone in the Olympics, and he brought him there to teach him that. And he's made he's got he's him and Coach K great friends. He's made a lot of good friends and a good contacts, but and he's big in the area. I mean, he's got the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation around here. I think he's still gonna be part of that stuff. So I did see somewhere where somebody said that the Big East tournament should invite him so that the Big East fans can give him a proper send-off from the Big East. Without Jim Boeheim, there's no Big East. Without Jim Boeheim and John Thompson, Luke Carnesecca, there is no Big East. He was the one that him and John Thompson created the Big East between SU and Georgetown. Without those two teams, there's no Big East conference. So
what if they do really well next season, and then after a year he comes back and forces himself back into the program and then threatens to sell it to someone else, but doesn't, and just shows up at random games with a mustache?
That'd be awesome.
Kevin's really confused.
Yeah, you're on mute, by the way. You know that, right? Okay.
He knows.
Making sure he knows. So, and then I, for other sports related stuff, I watched a little bit of wrestling on Monday and Tuesday.
You did?
I did. It's weird. Actually, so I was sitting out here. I bought a new TV for my living room. 58-inch TV from Walmart.
Is it broken?
It's not broken. I haven't broken
Yeah.
it. I haven't been anywhere been no ladder near it, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was watching it on Monday night with my son, and
it broke.
and we threw things at it to see how long it would break it.
Son of
Was watching Raw, and so I mentioned this, texted Paul this, it's official that Seth Rollins and Logan Paul are going to wrestle at WrestleMania. But so we were sitting here, and my son was kind of half watching it or whatever, and when they mentioned Logan Paul, he started to like, oh my God, this guy's doing wrestling now. He's such a tool bag, and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh great, so at least you know who somebody is. So he watched, he was watching it. He's like, oh, he can't be that good at wrestling. I said, well, here, let me show you something. So I showed him the clothesline.
Oh, the
Royal
buckshot.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, with him and Ricochet, and he saw it. He went, holy shit. I'm like, yeah, he is actually pretty good at this. And then I showed him the Crown Jewel when he did the
with Reigns off the
with a frog splash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed him that. So he was like, oh, he's actually not too bad at this. So yeah, it was pretty wild watching that. And I texted Paul right away. I was like, yeah, that's an official match now. Even before it became official, like I mean, we've all talked about it, and that.
Didn't I call that spot weeks ago?
Yeah.
I said it was going to be Seth Rollins and Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yeah.
And Seth Rollins was going to win. Don't forget.
Yeah. So, and then I watched Roadblock last night, NXT. Just because I was watching it. I watched Roxanne Perez and
pass out.
Yeah, okay. I watched it. I don't know if it was kayfabe or if it was real. It looked a little bit like it was kind of made up because she kept opening her eyes and looking at the camera. Easy, Kev. And stuff like that. Like she was moving her arms and she kept looking up at the camera, like almost like, oh my God, the camera's still on me. And she'd close her eyes again. So I don't know if it was real or if it was something. I don't know. I think I said last night when I was watching it, because my son and I were kind of watching it. And I said, yeah, that doesn't look right. Because, I mean, like she passed out face down and they rolled her over, then put the neck brace on her type of thing. Everybody knows that you never move somebody like that. You always put the neck brace on first. That was everybody's big thing, every time something like that happened many moons ago in wrestling. When they rolled somebody over that had some apparent injury or whatever like that, and they rolled them over, they're like, well, you don't move somebody who's got injury without securing them, at least their neck. And they were like holding on to them and rolling them over.
But I like paralyzing people.
Ouch. No good.
So yeah, so I kind of was like, yeah, that seems a little fake. I was telling my son the same thing last night. So, and of course it was on like all over Google today that she passed out and she was taken to the hospital and whatnot. Shawn Michaels came running out and Booker T was all concerned, and so I don't know. But they were talking about them wrestling on Saturday night, like at WrestleMania.
There is something during the day, in the morning of WrestleMania on that Saturday. NXT has like their own show.
Okay, I said, they were talking about it because she's supposed to wrestle. JC Jane and I'm assuming Gigi don't want to wrestle. They wrestled last night and Gigi won. So I have a feeling that's gonna keep going on, Toxic Attraction style and stuff like that without Mandy Rose. But so that's it for the wrestling.
The wrestling.
I just gotta say, Paul, did you watch the Iron Man match from Revolution?
I did not.
Holy shit. So I'm gonna say MJF, I mean, he might have done something shady at the end, but him and Bryan Danielson, I mean, they really went. He's only ever wrestled a 37 or 38-minute match before, and people were worried he was going to get blown out. It was good from start to finish.
Nice. Isn't that also the match where he threw a drink on a kid?
Yeah.
I love that.
Don't ever waste drinks. So I'm done.
Okay. Well, then let's move it right along to Jack's favorite segment, his erroneous questions of the week.
Yay. The questions. All right. Hugh, 1 through 4.
3.
All right. Your question is insects.
Incest.
No, insects. An
I said
insect.
my family was
Like
yeah,
bugs.
they're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What type of insect only comes out on prime number years? Like 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11 years.
Cicadas.
Yeah. Good one. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Kev,
1.
classic 80s movies.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
There you go.
So what year did Marty McFly send the car back to in the future? What year
Oh,
did he
Jesus
send the car
Christ.
back to?
1985.
It was based in 85, but what year did he send it back to?
Oh, what year did he send it back to?
He wasn't based off of
Oh.
1985, but what year did he go back?
Oh, it
I
was.
think I know.
It was 50 something, wasn't it? 50. I don't know, 56, 57,
Take a guess.
56.
No,
55.
55.
October.
You're close. But
15th.
I was close.
Was it
you said
50?
1985. I'm like, come on, 30 years back. You almost got it.
I can't remember I can't remember exactly how far back. Yeah, whatever.
So, but it was October. Was it 15th?
I
believe
don't.
so.
I believe you're right. Yeah, and
Okay.
then like a JC Penney parking lot or something. I don't know. All
Yeah.
right.
Twin Pines Mall.
Twin Pines Mall.
There
Because
you
when it comes back, it's Pines Mall.
Lone Paul
One
Mall.
Yeah.
Lone Pine Mall. Yeah.
Lone Pine Mall. Yeah.
I
All
might
right.
have seen it a couple times.
Yeah, we all. Yeah. How about Corbs? 1 or 4?
2 or 4, you mean?
Oh, 2 or 4. That's right.
2.
Roots around the world. What type of berry is toxic to dogs? A berry. What kind of berry is toxic to a dog?
I want to say, I think boysenberry. No.
No. Take another guess though.
Blackberry.
No.
Dingle.
No. You were Kev?
Marionberry.
A snozberry.
Alderberry.
No. Just a cherry.
A cherry berry?
Cherry's got the pits and Paul gets my
Oh.
favorite question, and this could be the title this week. Okay, so you get 2 guesses. So these are alternate names for animal body parts. So I need the type of animal and the body part. So what is a vibrissae?
It is the stink gland on a skunk.
No. If you want to guess again, or anybody can else guess, what is a vibrissae?
Is it the tendon under the tongue?
No.
It's what animals use to make zoodles out of zucchini.
No, give me the animal that you think it's under the tongue, but it's not under the tongue.
Oh, I didn't know that was part of the answer.
It
So-
is a bear's epiglottis.
No. Corbs?
I got no idea.
Believe it or not, well, some of you have this type of animal.
I don't believe it.
It's a cat's middle toenail.
No. It's the cat's whiskers.
Ooh.
So that will be your vibrissae. I just like saying that word. All right. You're up.
I'm up.
Yep.
Oh, in other words, it's done.
Oh, yes.
Segment done.
No more questions for you.
All right. So then I guess it's time for me to give out my weekly topic, which is yet again another Bureau of Truth. Since I'm having fun with these.
You're the only one.
Well, I enjoyed the last week one.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jack.
I like last week. Last week was good.
All right. So once again, your two options are A, definitive proof that the Mandela effect has happened, or confirmation that we are living in a simulation. Think about that, and we will discuss it after the break. Stick with us, guys.
Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a key back issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics.
Hi, this is Craig Palmer. If you ever aspire to be a wrestler, come on down to Upstate Wrestling Entertainment, located at 1121 Glenwood Ave in United, New York. We're open every Tuesday and Thursday from 6:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. Come on down and join us. See you then.
All right. So your two options for your Bureau of Truth this week are definitive proof that the Mandela effect has happened, or confirmation that we are in fact living in a simulation. Do you need any explanation on what these are, guys?
Sure, go for it.
All right. The Mandela effect refers to a situation in which a large mass of people believe that an event occurred when it did not. The term was originated in 2009 by Fiona Broome after she discovered that she, along with a number of others, believed that Nelson Mandela had died in the 1980s, when in actuality he died in 2013. And the simulation hypothesis is the idea that
you forgot about the most interesting part of the Mandela effect. What it is, why they think that it's happening.
Go ahead. You're right, because that wasn't in the thing.
Yeah,
right.
What they think is that there are alternate universes, and sometimes shit gets weird. And while there may be a me over there, sometimes you can pop into another universe and you might not notice it because it's so similar. Maybe the only thing in that universe is that Nelson Mandela didn't die in the 80s, and you don't even realize it until you run into it. An example, the Berenstain Bears. You know, I'm one of the people that remembers it being spelled with an E, but apparently it's been spelled with an A the entire time. I don't remember that.
Right.
So they think that we're kind of like jumping universes, sometimes back and forth. Anytime anything like that happens, I look at my wife and go, I've been fucking Mandela affected again.
And there's a ton of these examples, even down to C-3PO's leg.
Yeah, because I don't remember it being a different color.
No.
And they say mirror, mirror, like magic mirror or something like that.
There's a ton of these. Yeah. Kevin, you're looking at it's funny. You haven't heard the Star Wars one?
I don't think we need to go there right now.
He just wants us to be done. So
No, I don't know that I can speak to either one of these, but go ahead.
All right. Where was I? The explanation for the simulation hypothesis? That is the idea that our physical reality, far from being a solid physical universe, is part of an increasingly sophisticated video game-like simulation, where we all have multiple lives consisting of pixels with its own internal clock run by some giant artificial intelligence. Simulation theory explains some of the biggest mysteries of quantum and relativistic physics, such as quantum indeterminacy, parallel universes, and the integral nature of the speed of light. Whole lot of words that I never thought would be said on GeekPod. Jack, why don't you start us off?
Well, both topics you're going to anger a lot of people because like a lot of it's like last week, a lot of people are going to be angry, but I'm glad you brought this up. So the Mandela effect actually is kind of interesting because there was a guy actually, I was reading an article today. He was like mentioning things that are going to happen in like history and all that, which is weird. Like he's like maybe not in our universe, but maybe in another universe. He's like, keep an eye on February 21st, 2024. Not our universe, but maybe another universe, something will happen, which is totally weird about
holy
this.
shit. So he said somewhere in the alternate universes, something's going to happen on a day.
Yeah, he gave specific dates. And he said basically maybe, and he's thinking in our universe, this one, so keep this one in mind. What was it? May 2029, 2030, what was it? 2030, World War III will break out, and not in this universe, but be in another. But by 2000,
So this shit we'll never be able to confirm.
I know, but in 2037, the war will end, and a second baby boom will happen, growing the population way too high. So I don't know. Like this guy says he's claimed he's gotten other things right, but he doesn't have the facts. But like these are things that might happen in another universe. But I was reading that today. I'm like, could this happen? But with the Mandela effect, when you brought that up, I was thinking about that a little bit. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. So a World War III, the population going too high, and then something will happen. I don't know, February 21st, 2024. Maybe Hugh takes the massive shit out that's going to be the biggest in the world. I don't know.
So which do you believe?
I'm gonna go with the Mandela effect because like there's so many things like about that. I'm gonna believe in that one.
Okay.
Why?
Because there's just so many of them to talk about. So like there's so many theories about that one. You can go in so much detail, greater detail about it. Because like for the longest time, for one of them, for example, was that mirror. Well, I always thought in Snow White was mirror, mirror on the wall. But it's like magic mirror on the wall. After you listen to it a couple times, you're like, wait a minute, this can't be right because you were believed to something, and then this can't be right. But it just messes with your head too much. It's just a big mind fuck.
Because people are too stupid to
Yes.
quote it correctly.
No, it's Kevin. These are things that are a little bit different than misquotes. These are things that people have very specific memories tied to. Now, you weren't on the show when we talked about this, so let me give my example. Go back to the Berenstein Bears, okay? I specifically remember as a kid asking my mother why Berenstein was pronounced Berenstein when Frankenstein was pronounced Frankenstein, because they're spelled the same. Very distinct memory, because that confused me. I've always been into the classic horror movies, so I watched them with my dad when I was little, and I didn't understand why it wasn't Berenstein. So I have a specific memory. We fast forward 20, 30 years, I find out it's never been spelled Stein. It's always been Stain. When I saw it at first, I looked up, I'm like, oh, maybe they changed the spelling or something. And then I find out it's never been spelled that way. These are the kinds of things that people are attributing to the Mandela effect. Now, if it was just something that I didn't have a specific memory, I just misremembered, because that can happen. But it's mass amounts of people. It's big enough that it's on social media. Enough people remember that spelling of Berenstain Bears for it to be a thing. So that kind of makes you wonder. Does that mean I'm going now?
I guess so. Yes, might as well.
So as far as which one I would reveal to the world, man, I don't know if I would reveal either of them, because I feel that either one is going to cause mass panic. The Mandela effect, people are like, I can do things and maybe I'll flip to another universe and won't get in trouble. With the simulation, people will be like, whatever I do doesn't matter. I think both of those could potentially end in riots and chaos and ridiculousness. I will comment, though, on the simulation theory. I've seen tons of articles pop up saying, top scientist thinks we're in a simulation. I never click on any of those, but it's stuck. I was like, one of these days I want to click on one of those to read about that. And the other night something happened. I don't know that I remembered that. And I started thinking about Assassin's Creed. And I was like, because I'm always, not that my wife will use this, but I'm always thinking story ideas, because she's a writer now. And I'm like, what if the next Assassin's Creed game opens and you're playing as Cassandra or let's say Ivor from Valhalla, and it backs up, and then you see some people playing the game, and then like a plane lands on their house or something, and they all die, and then they wake up and they find out that they themselves were in a simulation, and the company that was running it, far in the future, highly advanced, thought it would be funny to put a simulation in the simulation. Basically two steps of it. I was like, that's a neat idea. But I got thinking about it. I'm like, what do we do? What does my daughter play? The Sims. A civilization or people sufficiently further advanced than we are. What would their Sims look like? They'd look like us.
Not specifically us, hopefully.
Well, no, they may specifically look like us, Paul. I mean, at our level of technology, The Sims is what we can come up. We can come up with more, obviously. But if you talk about a civilization that's a millennia, 2 millennia, a million years ahead of us, what would their simulation look like? Who knows?
Right. Like how sophisticated? Yeah.
And we could both be aware of it and unaware of it at the same time. We can talk about it as a possibility, but we'll never be able to prove it. It would explain the Mandela effect, though, because every system has glitches.
This is true. So by revealing one, you could end up revealing both.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Kev,
Well,
with the perpetual scowl, you want to go?
I would definitely reveal that we were in a simulation, because as a kid, I always wanted to be in the game Tron. I wanted to race one of the light cycles.
Yes.
That's not going to happen if you tell everybody in the world they're in a simulation. They're just going to burn shit and steal shit.
But I get to drive a light cycle.
Why do you think revealing that means you get a light cycle? Nothing changes.
But my perception might change, and my light cycle might appear.
Just fucking give the man his light cycle. Jesus Christ, Hugh.
That's all I want. I want to grab a bar and have it turn into a motorcycle.
You'd get one and you'd be like, man, this doesn't handle as well as my regular motorcycle.
Well, they handle very, very differently.
All right, Corbs, what do you think?
I got no opinion. Opinions are like assholes.
Exactly. So you've
You don't
got
have
one.
an asshole?
You should call me an asshole?
Yeah.
I'm the same boat as Kev. It's this living in a simulation because, not for the light cycle side of it, but,
Do you want to like?
I was more thinking like the Matrix side of it type of thing,
I need somebody to compete against.
So, I don't know, but, I think you're right. either one of them, you're gonna fuck up society, and people
Yes.
are gonna go mass hysteria, and you're gonna have riots and martial.
And then 3 generations later, people find out they have Vikings in their bloodline.
Exactly. So that's that's me. So
What if the simulation is that you're the only real person and everything and everyone else around you is fake? Is the simulation?
I would find that odd, because that means they'd have to be running 8+ billion simulations at a time if everyone that you see represents a real living person somewhere else.
That's a big electric.
That's not what I said.
Oh, so you're saying that you're the center of the entire universe?
You are the only thing that is real. Everything else is a simulation.
well, that sucks.
See,
Isn't that real?
Wouldn't
Man.
it suck?
But I don't know how that could happen, Kev. Just if you follow me here.
Think about it like this.
Okay.
Some guy drives by you on the road and all of a sudden they turn right and then you can't see him anymore. How do you know they kept going? Maybe they just dissolved into the simulation.
That's true, but this would have to be such a sophisticated simulation. It's got to be drawing a ton of power, all this stuff. Why would an advanced civilization do all of this just for me?
You're the last one.
If we had that kind of technology, I don't think that I would be the last one. I hope
We
not.
don't.
Right, you're talking about this being something in the future.
You're a pet.
Oh
But
shit!
you know what? All they could do extract my DNA and clone me. I mean, they wouldn't need to run a giant 8 billion person simulation
You're-
just for me.
You're the last one. Everything else is just a computer.
I think it's more likely that we're all in the computer.
Kev, are you just saying you're the last one so you can get your light cycle and go
I
everywhere?
might not be. Maybe
I know, I'm
you are,
just-
Jack.
I could
Maybe
be.
You are.
I could. Maybe Corbs could.
I'm just saying.
Maybe you're a rogue program sent here to make us all think we're the last human and spread that so we all kill each other. Like a virus. And Jack's gone.
Maybe.
Oh, what do you got?
So, I would go with the Mandela effect just because I would like those questions answered, because there are ones that, of the examples, I'm like, well, wait a minute, I do remember it that way. Like the Berenstein Bears, I remember that way. The C-3PO one, I definitely remember him being all gold.
Yeah,
not having a silver leg.
He was all gold. He had to have been.
No.
No,
I know.
Watch the movie. I had to go back and watch it too. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I had the C-3PO that came apart, and went in the fucking bag and stuff. He didn't have a silver leg.
Nope, he was all gold. Yep. So, that's the one I would want to do. Like, destroying civilization, be damned. I would need to know, and that's why I would never be on this board of the Bureau of Truth, because I'd be very selfish about all of it. Like, I just need to know. I don't care if it's gonna burn down Chicago. It's just
You would know, then you could just jump to another fucking universe.
right. Whoop.
All would just be hopping universes, destroying them.
Just because you know doesn't mean you can actually do anything about it.
Right. I agree with that as well.
I would jump to one where I'm fucking rich.
I don't know who Rich is, but is he okay with it?
Corbs, what if you
He's
found to
fucking
find
him.
out there is no universe where you're rich? You're exactly the same in every universe.
Well, that'd
He
be
said
pretty-
he's fucking rich. He didn't say he was rich. If he's rich, then he's getting fucked by some guy named Corbs.
All right. And there you go. All right, guys. Let's get ready to bring this thing home. Guys, what have you been watching?
Already kind of saw what I was watching.
All right. I want to give a shout out, and I know you'll hate this, but I know that Laura watched the last 2 episodes of Supernatural today, and it was very emotional. So I'm with her. But outside of that, what are we? We're still watching. We're in season 2 of Stargate. Is there anything new? I don't think there's been anything new we've watched. Survivor came back.
Nice. And Mandalorian. I'm assuming everyone's at least seen episode 1 at this point.
I'm caught up.
Episode 1.
I'm
I
not.
didn't
I'm
see
at 1
today.
because Wednesdays
I'm at-
suck. 0. Okay.
I know, Kev, you're still watching Bad Batch, right? Yep.
I'm not caught up though.
I didn't watch this today, but I watched last week. Yeah. But no, those are good shows, and also Corbs probably knows this. One of my favorite writers, Mitch Albom, he did a couple good books when that I like to read, Tuesdays with Maury. But I showed Emily this weekend the movie The Five.
You read them every Tuesday? And who's Maury? We've never heard of him before.
No, that was a bestseller. It's a very good book.
Very good book.
Very good book. And then his follow-up was The Five People You Meet in Heaven. And
Very good.
Oh my God, I read that in 2 days. And then I showed that to Emily, the movie. And John Voight, believe it or not, starred in the movie, which was kind of cool. So you had a really cool cast. But that movie, though, you were up, you were down. But for one more day, though, Mitch Albom, if you guys are looking for someone to read, when you read his books, though, like, you will not put those down. Like, and they do TV adaptations of movies, but The Five People You Meet in Heaven was arguably one of my favorite books, and it was a great movie too as well. So
It's not a very long read either. It's definitely
not.
neither one of them are. They're very good books and very worthwhile.
You've read them, Kev?
Both, yeah.
Yeah. Did you read For One More Day?
No.
That's another one he's done, and apparently, he actually in 2018. I didn't know this. It's called The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. So the girl that he pushes away from the ride when it falls in The Five People You Meet in Heaven, she comes up to heaven and he actually gets to meet Eddie. So actually, I might pick up that book, and I want to read that book, I think. So
I thought One More Day was a tease until they actually did a monthly of it a few years later.
no, that was a good book too, because I got that from my dad because he never had a good relationship with his mom. And it's about a guy that has a troubled relationship with his mother, and they try to reconnect and all that. And this Mitch Albom really tugs on the feels, though, for reads if you're looking for something good to read or watch for sure.
Are they
Sorry.
zombies in it?
No.
Nope.
Fuck that.
Kev, thank you
close,
for
though.
helping me with
Pretty
this.
close, though. The Five People You Meet in Heaven is like a staple, I think, if you like to read it all. It's very worthwhile.
Like you said, it's not a long read, but like literally you can't put it down. It's like, holy shit, I read like 200 pages in like 2 days.
This is what I'm reading. The Complete Works of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh wow.
Big
Oh.
even has one of those
Things.
yeah, those things that help me
Neat.
keep my page.
That's neat.
Nice. I thought I was gonna cut out a page in the book and have a sandwich inside.
Those are my
It does.
books. That's
It does.
Those are what?
those are the books I have.
It actually has a candy bar in there.
Actually,
it's
that
an,
book's big enough. I could probably put some meatloaf and mashed potatoes in it.
It's an emergency.
Maybe even a
candy bar.
pot pie.
Some pancakes.
Who's-
Pancakes.
Fuck you
Who's
and your
up next?
pancakes.
Who's up next?
Corbs?
The only thing I watched is finished watching 1923. There will be a second season for that.
Nice.
So, and they're coming out with another one, 1944. So,
Wow, it's like those games with the airplanes where you shoot shit. Remember those, Paul?
yes, I remember.
42, 43, and I don't even
1942.
know.
Yep.
So it was good. Harrison Ford and Helen Keller. Not Helen Keller, Jesus Christ. Helen Mirren.
Helen Keller.
Helen Mirren were fantastic in it. So Robert Patrick's in it. Yes. Robert Patrick's in it. So it was good. So that's all I really watched. So
I hear Helen Keller was surprised her acting career did so well because she just couldn't see herself doing that.
Well, you got your.
Took you a while to get there, but
It's Helen Keller and Rich show now.
I didn't want to interrupt him. I would have said it before, but he kept talking. So.
which is usual. I don't usually talk a lot.
Right.
What?
listen, I do want to say this. I know I said it probably last show or whatever, but if you guys get the chance, watch Dark. Netflix original. 3 seasons to it. Definitely watch it in its native language, which is German, with subtitles. and then follow it up with 1899. And I'm telling you, the writers, directors, they knock it out of the park. They keep you guessing. 3 seasons. They keep you guessing. The third episode from the end, we finally figure out what the fuck is going on. For sure. I mean, and you get plenty of opportunities to guess. And it gets revealed. I'll tell you this, that it's revealed way before that episode. If you're really paying attention, you might catch it.
Interesting.
So you said it's 3 seasons, Kev. How many episodes in a season?
There's more than 8. I want to say maybe 10.
Are they hour long?
Yeah, about that. They're so good. It's so good. They do a phenomenal job. They really get you to care about the primary characters.
Nice.
Very, very interesting. Very different way to handle time travel. Very different.
Cool.
What are you watching, Paul?
The Last of Us.
That's it.
And the first episode of The Mandalorian. That's all I've had time. And I watched part of an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event from 1985 the other night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that at length?
Did I or could I?
Could you?
I don't know, seeing as I only watched part of a match before I was done on the treadmill. I was watching stuff while I was.
That's not what you're supposed to be watching on the treadmill.
Yeah, I know. I switched over. I had something in my head about watching a Roddy Piper match, and I didn't even get to a Roddy Piper on it. It was Hogan and the Junkyard Dog against the Funks. That's what I was watching with Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart at ringside. But the only thing I want to address that we didn't say yet about The Last of Us is that the final episode airs this coming Sunday for season 1. So, it seems like we still got a long ways to go before they wrap anything up. So,
who says they wrap anything up? There's a second game.
You got to figure it's going to be somewhat tidy somewhere, right?
I'm not figuring that.
It's no spoiler, but they said it's only 43 minutes long. It's the shortest episode of the season.
Okay.
You know, walking through the apocalypse is walking through the apocalypse. I mean,
this is true.
Walking Dead did it for 11 seasons.
Just because they have a goal doesn't mean they're going to get there.
This is also true. I mean,
when you say this is true, you should be like, this is the way.
There's that.
I mean, Walking Dead did it for 11 seasons and never got anywhere.
Yeah. They got to a bunch of spinoffs that are coming now. So, but that's all I got. Does anybody else have anything to add? All right then. Well, let's bring this thing home.
I think it's nugget time.
Oh.
All right. Pro tip: always borrow money from a pessimist. They won't expect it back. Good night, everybody, and mega buy me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.